Assalamu alaikum, I'm Arfa here, and over this video I'll be talking about Economic Survey 2021-22 which was published in January 2022, which might be helpful for any UPSC Civil Services exam aspirant watching this video, because the topics dealt with in the survey are quite helpful not just for the prelims but also for value addition in the mains answer writing as well. Before going into the survey, I want to address another small issue faced by many aspirants as beginners who get scared of the Indian economy syllabus. Here I want to suggest the basic learning approach of dividing the syllabus and breaking it down into small bits and tackling them part by part. With time, you will see the difference in yourself. Gradually, you will see the improvement in yourself. You don't have to be an economist or form expert opinions. All you have to do is start studying, have some insights of the Indian economy, and stay updated with the current affairs related to the topics mentioned in the syllabus, and this will help you in tackling the questions in the exams. I would like to clarify that over this video, I won't be exactly analyzing the economic survey. Rather, I would like to talk or read out certain points which I have jotted down from the contents of the survey so that any aspirant watching this video gets a bit acquainted with what is there in the survey and feel a bit comfortable when you do the studies by yourself. You can have a copy of the document and do a cover-to-cover reading, or you can pick up select topics from the chapters. You can also refer to the summary published in the PIB website. Before going into the chapters, I want to mention something from the preface of the survey, where we get to know about the uncertainties in the post-COVID world, and that the default mode of policy making in India and most of the world has traditionally been to rely on a predetermined waterfall approach and upfront analysis of the issue, detailed planning, and finally meticulous implementation. And it mentions that this economic survey sets out to explain the alternative agile approach, and this framework is based on feedback loops, real-time monitoring of the actual outcomes, flexible responses, safety net buffers, and so on. The preface has a brief history of the document, and this year's survey reverts to a single volume plus a separate volume for the statistical appendix. This survey has 10 sectoral chapters, and the 11th one shows the tracking of development through satellite images and cartography. For talking about in this video, I have divided these 10 chapters into 3 parts. In the first part, I will be dealing with chapter 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 because these topics are a bit easier to relate to for any beginner. And it consists of sustainable development and climate change, which you will anyways be studying in your environment part of the syllabus, and agriculture and food management, industry and infrastructure, services, and social infrastructure and employment. In the next part, I will talk about chapter 5 and 6, that is, chapter 4 and 5. That is monetary management and financial intermediates, and prices and inflation. In the last part of the video, I will talk about chapter 1, 2, 3 in reverse way, that is 3, 2, 1, that's external sector, fiscal development, and state of the economy. So let's begin. Let's begin with chapter 6, that is sustainable development and climate change. Here we'll get to know about India's progress on sustainable development goals. We'll have this, we can learn about goal-wise performance of India as a whole. We have this Niti Aayog's SDG India Index report and dashboard. And we have India State of the Forest Report data to understand about the forest lands, about the state of the environment. And then in this chapter we come across plastic waste management and elimination of identified single-use plastics and details about extended producer responsibility and various air and water related topics like groundwater resources assessment, the Namami Gange mission, National Clean Air Program. and it also has a very good table on national missions under NAPCC, and we also come to know about CCAP, that is climate change action program, and about national carbonaceous aerosols program, long term ecological observations, etc. and about National Hydrogen Mission, Government of India's offshore wind energy policy, major decisions of the COP26 climate change, India's NDC and its voluntary commitment on enhanced climate action. Then we come across the topic of finance for sustainable development and for dealing with financial risks associated with climate change. And that in May 2021, RBI set up a new unit called Sustainable Finance Group. And for augmenting finance for sustainable development, in January 2021, a task force on sustainable finance has been set up by the Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance. India is also actively contributing to the global efforts towards green finance, and India has been a part of bilateral and global sustainable finance initiatives. Also, we come to know about investing in resilience for sustainable development and about business responsibility and sustainability report, BRSR. And lastly, the chapter deals with India's initiatives at the international stage, like LIFE, Lifestyle for Environment, International Solar Alliance, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, Leadership Group for Industry Transition, etc. Then chapter 7, that is Agriculture and Food Management, deals with gross value added in the agriculture sector, about investments, and about edible oils, sugar sector, price policy, agricultural credit, water and irrigation, agricultural marketing, and you get data about APMC, ENAM, etc., and sweet revolution, about, which is related to beekeeping, and about situational assessment surveys, like composition of the average monthly income of agricultural households, and we get to know about natural farming and data related to the allied sectors like animal husbandry and dairying, about fisheries, and about agricultural research and education. About Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, about crop residue management, and then food processing sector and food management, and One Nation, One Ration Card, open market sales scheme, EPB program, that is ethanol blended petrol program, then and about fertilizers. Then comes chapter 8, which deals with industry and infrastructure, and here we get to know about IIP, 8 core industries, gross fixed capital formation, about sector-wise performance and performances of the industry, like steel, coal, MSME, textiles, electronics, pharmaceuticals, about infrastructure, like national infrastructure pipeline, national monetization pipeline, road transport, railway, civil aviation, ports, and about connecting pillars of India by PM Gati Shakti, telecom, petroleum, crude and natural gas, electricity, renewable energy and clean energy. Then comes chapter 9, that is services, and it details out the impact of COVID-19 and sequential recovery and the trends in high frequency indicators. We get to know about the space sector, about NSIL, INSPAC, apart from ISRO, and drone rules 2021, about, and then we come to know about ports, shipping, waterway services, about the Sagarmala project, removal of telecom regulations in the IT sector, and we also get to know about IT BPM services, and about the tourism sector, and it deals with many other major services sectors, and about FDI inflows, and about trends in the HFIs. The 10th chapter, that is the social infrastructure and employment, again gives data about the vaccination drive, and mentions about the periodic labor force survey, about EPFO data, and it talks about the school infrastructure and many other initiatives in the higher education sector, and it gives detailed data of India's health response to the COVID-19 and trends in social sector expenditure. And we come to know about many government schemes pertaining to the social sector in this chapter. And we also have data of the trends in employment, and trends in urban employment, etc. We get to know about programs and schemes for health sector, drinking water and sanitation, and rural development. Now let me come to the second part, that is chapter 4 and 5. Chapter 4, monetary management and financial intermediation. It narrates about the accommodative monetary policy along with other regulatory dispensations, asset classifications, temporary moratorium and provision of adequate liquidity, etc. And it talks about RBI's variable rate reverse repo auctions to rebalance liquidity conditions, etc., and about non-performing advances ratios, about the economic shock of the pandemic, which has been weathered off well in certain sectors, and about the the year 2021-22 has been exceptional for the capital markets, which saw a boom in fundraising through the IPOs, about the pre-packaged insolvency resolution processes which were provided under IBC as an alternative insolvency resolution process for the corporate MSME in April 2021. It talks about the monetary developments, about monetary policy committee data, and about broad money multipliers, and it also mentions about the liquidity conditions and its management. And you get to learn about terms like liquidity adjustment facility, and terms like LA, that is terms like CRR, WACR, T-bills, CDs, commercial papers, etc., and about developments in the government securities market, about the banking sector, about CRAR, that is capital to risk weighted assets ratio, about national assets reconstruction company, etc., and then about monetary transmissions, deposits, insurance in India, and about bank credit growth, development in capital markets, India's benchmark indices, insurance sector, pension sector, and insolvency and bankruptcy code. You can have a detailed understanding of these topics from this chapter. And then the chapter 5, that deals with prices and inflation. And it talks about the various steps taken by the government to augment the supply of essential commodities, about global inflation, about domestic inflation, the current trends in inflation, and about housing prices, and affordable rental housing complexes, about about PMAY urban tax benefits, and also talks about the pharmaceutical pricings, and about long-term perspective for management of supply side factors. Then we come to the last part of this video, that is chapter 3, 2 and 1. Chapter 3, external sector, mentions that the external trade recovered sharply in 2021 after the pandemic-induced slump of the previous year. And it gives data about India's current account balance, and about the global environment, global economic environment, and the revival of the global economic activities and trade performances of the major economies. And against this backdrop, India's external sector showing immense resilience during the year, which augurs well for the growth and revival in the economy. And about development in India's merchandise trade. And the programs on trade agreements like CECA between India and Australia, FTA with EU, CEPA with Canada, CEPA with UAE, etc. And about major schemes and initiatives to boost exports, like the RODTEP, districts as export hubs, PLI, ECGC, trade infrastructure for export scheme, market access initiatives, special economic zones, etc., and trade in services, private transfers, and it gives details about invisibles, current account balance, capital account, financial account, BOP balance, and foreign exchange reserves, movement in exchange rate, net international investment position, and external debt, etc. And it talks about India's external sector being very resilient. And then chapter 2, which deals with fiscal developments, and it talks about the fiscal policy strategy in the aftermath of the pandemic outbreak and the agile fiscal policy responses of the government of India. And it talks about the performance of fiscal indicators during 2021-22 and the trends in fiscal deficit, and it talks about revenue collection, be it from indirect tax or revenue from excise, GST, non-debt capital receipts, expenditures, etc., and long-term trends in government finances. And about the evolution of the disinvestment policy of the government of India. And it gives certain details about the policy measures to enhance the efficiency of the government spendings, and about government e-marketplace and new guidelines for reforms in the public procurement and project management, and certain COVID-related relief measures. And now we come to the last chapter, that is actually the first chapter, that is the state of the economy. And it mentions that the advanced estimates suggest that the Indian economy is expected to witnessed real GDP expansion of 9.2% in 2021-22 after contracting in 2020-21. This implies that overall economic activity has recovered from the past pre-pandemic levels. And you get a very good idea from this chapter regarding the sectoral trends, demand trends, and details of the barbell strategy, safety nets, and agile responses. You get to know about the safety, you get to know many details about the safety net measures taken by the government, and about high frequency, and about the 80 high frequency indicators, which were taken up to gauge the underlying state of the economy on a real-time basis. And we get details about the vaccination drive and macroeconomic stability and the supply side reforms. The chapter ends with a growth outlook, that is, the Indian economy is estimated to grow by 9.2% in real terms in 2021-22 as per the first advanced estimates, after contraction of 7.3% in 2020-21. India's GDP is projected to grow in real terms by 8.0 to 8.5% in 2022-23, which is comparable with the World Bank's and Asian Development Bank's latest forecasts of real GDP growth of 8.7% and 7.5% respectively for 2022-23. And IMF's latest World Economic Outlook growth projection released on 25th January 2022 says that India's real GDP is projected to grow at 9% in both 2021-22 and 2022-23, and at 7.1% in 2023-24. So this projects India as the fastest growing major economy in the world in all these 3 years. So that's it for this video, and I hope for your growth too, and I would like to ask you to leave your feedback and queries in the comments section, and I hope this video will be of little help to any beginner, and wish you all the best. Thank you.